Shields of Terra. The Craxian Empire had never known defeat. For 3 millennia, their warships had carved a bloody path across 17 star systems, subjugating every sentient species they encountered. Their technological superiority and ruthless efficiency had become legendary, spreading fear throughout the galactic arm. When their long-range scouts first detected Earth, a vibrant blue world on the edge of an unremarkable spiral arm, they saw only another primitive civilization ripe for conquest. They couldn't have been more wrong. Admiral Vrock stood on the command deck of the Inevitable Dominion, flagship of the Craxian Third Fleet. His scaled skin glimmered under the harsh lights as he studied the holographic projection of the Sol system. Earth looked insignificant, defenseless, a backwater planet whose inhabitants had barely managed to establish a few colonies on their neighboring worlds. "Begin standard conquest protocol," Vrock ordered, his 4 eyes narrowing with anticipation. "Send the Vanguard to establish dominance." Behind him, his second-in-command, Commander Thex, tapped commands into the ship's neural interface. "Vanguard deployed, Admiral. 20 warships approaching Earth's orbit. Estimated time to planetary defense grid, 17 minutes. Vrock settled into his command chair. He had overseen the conquest of 12 worlds personally, and this one would be no different. The reports indicated that humans possessed rudimentary particle weapons and limited faster-than-light capability. Nothing that could challenge Craxian quantum weaponry. "Open communication channels across all Earth frequencies," Vrock commanded. "Let's give them the opportunity to surrender before we begin planetary bombardment." The communications officer complied, and Vrock's message was broadcast to every device on Earth capable of receiving transmissions. "People of Earth, I am Admiral Vrock of the Craxian Empire. Your world now belongs to us. Resistance will result in the obliteration of your major population centers. You have 1 planetary rotation to submit to our authority." On Earth, in the underground command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Maya Chen watched the alien transmission with a calm that belied the gravity of the situation. Around her, military officers and civilian officials from every major nation maintained disciplined silence. This moment had been anticipated for decades. "They've taken the bait," Chen said softly. "Exactly as predicted." Dr. Elias Reyes, chief architect of Project Aegis, nodded. "Their approach matches all our simulations. They're following standard expansion protocols documented in the Arcturus archives." 50 years earlier, humanity had recovered a damaged alien vessel in Antarctica, not Craxian, but from one of their previous victims. The ship contained a wealth of information about galactic civilizations, including detailed records of Craxian conquest methods. Since that discovery, Earth had united under a single purpose: to prepare for the inevitable encounter. "Are the Veil systems operational?" Chen asked. "All systems green," a technician confirmed. "The Veil has been active for the past decade. As far as they can tell, we have minimal orbital infrastructure and basic defense capabilities. The Veil was humanity's greatest deception, a planetary-scale cloaking system that masked Earth's true technological level. While the Craxians saw a primitive world with rudimentary space stations and satellite networks, the reality was vastly different. Earth's orbit bristled with advanced defense platforms. The Moon had been transformed into a fortress. Mars housed shipyards that had produced hundreds of warships currently hiding in dimensional pockets throughout the system. In orbit, the Craxian Vanguard approached, weapons charging. Their sensors detected nothing unusual, exactly what Earth wanted them to see. "Let them get closer," Chen ordered. "Wait until they're fully committed." Commander Thex's voice crackled over the command deck of the Inevitable Dominion. "Admiral, the Vanguard has entered Earth's upper atmosphere. No resistance detected. Their military appears to be scrambling fighters, but nothing that poses a threat." Vrock nodded in satisfaction. "Primitive, as expected. Begin targeting their governmental centers." "Sir," the sensor officer interrupted, his voice tinged with confusion. "I'm detecting energy fluctuations around the planet. patterns unlike anything in our database. Vrock frowned. Elaborate. Before the officer could respond, alarms blared across the command deck. The holographic display showing the Vanguard fleet flickered and then displayed something impossible. All 20 Craxian warships simultaneously engulfed in blinding light. What's happening? Vrock demanded, rising from his chair. The sensor officer's hands flew across his console. The Vanguard. They're gone, sir. All ships destroyed simultaneously. Impossible. Vrock hissed. Check your sensors. No primitive species cold. His words died as the holographic display shifted to show reality without the filtering of Craxian preconceptions. The supposedly defenseless Earth was now surrounded by a shimmering energy field. Behind it, hundreds of warships emerged from dimensional pockets, their designs unlike anything in Craxian records. In the Rocky Mountain Command Center, General Chen gave the order. Deactivate the veil. Show them what they're really facing. Dr. Reyes smiled grimly. Activating Prometheus Protocol. On the inevitable Dominion, Vrock watched in disbelief as Earth's true defenses revealed themselves. The primitive satellites the Craxians had detected transformed, unfolding into massive battle stations. The moon's surface opened to reveal cannon emplacements capable of firing graviton compression beams, weapons the Craxians had theorized but never successfully developed. Impossible, Vrock whispered. They're supposed to be primitives. A new transmission cut across all Craxian communications channels. General Chen's face appeared on the main display. Admiral Vrock of the Craxian Empire, she said, her voice steady and determined. Perhaps we should renegotiate the terms of surrender. Vrock's upper lip curled back, revealing serrated teeth. You deceived us. We learned from your previous conquests, Chen replied. The species you destroyed at Arcturus left records. We've spent 50 years preparing for this day. On cue, the first wave of Earth's defense fleet advanced toward the Craxian armada. Their ships moved with impossible precision, utilizing propulsion technology that allowed them to navigate without inertial limitations. All ships, battle formation. Vrock commanded, but his usual confidence had evaporated. Target their lead vessels and... He never finished the order. The Earth ships didn't attack with conventional weapons. Instead, they projected fields that seemed to distort space itself around the Craxian vessels. 3 Craxian destroyers imploded, crushed by localized gravity wells. Graviton manipulation, Commander Thek said, his voice hollow with shock. They've mastered it. Vrock made a decision that no Craxian admiral had made in 3,000 years. All ships, emergency retreat. Return to Craxian space immediately. As the Craxian fleet turned to flee, the Earth forces allowed most to escape. They only destroyed enough vessels to send a message. This world was not to be trifled with. In the Rocky Mountain facility, General Chen watched the Craxian retreat with grim satisfaction. They'll be back, Dr. Reyes warned. And in greater numbers. Chen nodded. Of course they will. But now, they know we're not easy prey. And by the time they return, we'll be ready to take the fight to them. Across Earth, people emerged from shelters to look up at the sky, where debris from Craxian ships burned through the atmosphere like shooting stars. For the first time in recorded history, the Craxian Empire had been defeated. Humanity had survived first contact not through luck, but through foresight, preparation, and innovation. And the galaxy would never be the same. Wrath of the Stars. 6 months after Earth's shocking victory over the Craxian Vanguard, the atmosphere on the planet was one of determined preparation. The brief encounter had confirmed what humanity had long suspected. The galaxy was hostile, and Earth's survival depended on its ability to defend itself. On the bridge of the EDF Indomitable, Admiral Sophia Reyes, daughter of Dr. Elias Reyes and commander of Earth's First Fleet, watched as construction drones swarmed around Mars' orbital shipyards. Since the Craxian retreat, production had tripled. Earth wasn't just preparing to defend, it was preparing to take the fight to the enemy. Status report, Reyes ordered. turning to her executive officer. Commander Jackson Chen, General Chen's son, straightened. All systems nominal. Admiral, the dimensional pocket generators are functioning at 120% efficiency. We can now conceal the entire fleet with minimal energy expenditure. Reyes nodded, her dark eyes reflecting the red glow of Mars below. And Project Helios. Final testing phase. Dr. Singh believes it will be operational within 3 weeks. A communications officer interrupted. Admiral, priority message from Outpost Sentinel. Long-range sensors have detected a massive hyperspace disruption at the edge of the Oort cloud. Reyes's expression hardened. They're back sooner than expected. Alert all commands. Activate the Aegis protocol. Throughout the solar system, humanity's defenses moved into position. The lunar cannons charged to full capacity. Earth's orbital platforms activated their graviton shields. The fleets stationed around Jupiter and Saturn emerged from their dimensional pockets, forming an intricate defensive network. In deep space, the Craxian armada emerged from hyperspace. Not a mere fleet this time, but the full might of the Craxian Empire. 5,000 warships, led by the colossal dreadnought Imperial Judgment, commanded by Grand Admiral Zex himself, the highest military authority in the Empire. On the bridge of the Imperial Judgment, Grand Admiral Zex studied the tactical displays with cold fury. His gray scales were accented with gold markings denoting his supreme rank. Unlike Admiral Vrock, who had underestimated Earth, Zex came prepared for a difficult conquest. Deploy the suppression field, Zex ordered. I want their dimensional technology neutralized before we enter the inner system. Commander Vrall, Zex's chief tactician, implemented the order. Specialized vessels moved forward, generating a quantum field designed to collapse dimensional pockets and prevent the formation of new ones. Suppression field active, Grand Admiral, Vrall reported. Earth's dimensional technology should be inoperable within range. Zex nodded. Advance the fleet. Target their orbital defenses first, then the lunar installations. No communication, no demands, just destruction. The Craxian armada moved forward with methodical precision, their formation designed to counter Earth's graviton weapons. They had studied the recordings from the previous encounter extensively, developing countermeasures for everything they had witnessed. What they hadn't counted on was humanity's capacity for innovation. In the command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, now expanded into the headquarters of the Earth Defense Force, General Chen observed the Craxian approach alongside representatives from every nation. They've deployed dimensional suppressors, she noted. They've learned from their mistakes. Dr. Elias Reyes, now silver-haired but no less sharp, smiled faintly. Expected. That's why we developed alternatives. Chen nodded to a communications officer. Signal Admiral Reyes. Implement Helios Protocol. In space, the Earth Defense Fleet appeared to be at a disadvantage. Their dimensional pockets collapsed under the Craxian suppression field, revealing ships that had been hidden, exactly as the Craxians expected. But rather than attempting to re-establish the dimensional pockets, the Earth Fleet separated into smaller, faster formations. On the Indomitable, Admiral Reyes received the order. Helios Protocol authorized, she confirmed. All ships initialize quantum entanglement drives. Execute sunstorm maneuver. The Earth ships suddenly accelerated to impossible speeds, their hulls glowing with exotic energy. The Craxian suppression field had no effect on this new propulsion system, which utilized quantum entanglement rather than dimensional manipulation. Grand Admiral Zex watched in alarm as the Earth fleet achieved velocities his sensors could barely track. What is this? Their ships should be crippled by our suppression field. Commander Vrall's analysis came quickly. They've developed a new propulsion system, Grand Admiral. Quantum entanglement-based. Our intelligence failed to detect this capability. Adapt, Zex roared. Target their lead vessels. But the Earth ships were already executing the Sunstorm maneuver, a complex tactical pattern designed to divide the Craxian forces. The maneuver worked brilliantly, causing confusion in the methodically arranged Craxian formation. As the battle unfolded, Earth revealed more surprises. The lunar cannons fired not graviton beams, but something new, coherent streams of particles that existed simultaneously in multiple quantum states. These uncertainty beams passed straight through Craxian shields, which were designed to block particles in defined quantum states. Dozens of Craxian ships erupted in silent explosions as the uncertainty beams struck their power cores. The Craxian formation began to falter. On the Imperial judgment, Grand Admiral Zex refused to accept defeat. "Deploy the planet killer," he ordered, his voice cold with rage. "If we cannot have Earth, no one will." From the heart of the Craxian fleet, a massive vessel emerged, the World Ender, a ship designed for a single purpose, the obliteration of inhabited planets. Its main cannon began to charge, gathering energy to trigger a chain reaction in Earth's core that would tear the planet apart. In the Rocky Mountain Command Center, alarms blared as sensors detected the energy buildup. "They're deploying a planet killer," a technician reported, fear evident in her voice. General Chen remained calm. As anticipated, Dr. Reyes, the elderly scientist, nodded. "Project Helios is ready, General. Awaiting your command." Chen took a deep breath. "Authorize Helios." Throughout the solar system, hidden installations activated simultaneously. On Mercury, massive energy collectors unfurled to capture solar energy at unprecedented levels. On Venus, conversion stations processed this energy into a form that defied conventional physics. On Mars, relay stations directed the processed energy to Earth. Admiral Reyes received the notification on her command console. "Helios activated. All ships, disengage and clear the vector." The Earth fleet broke off combat and rapidly retreated to predetermined positions, leaving the Craxians momentarily confused by the sudden withdrawal. On Earth, Dr. Reyes monitored the final sequence of Project Helios, humanity's ultimate defensive weapon. Developed in secret during the 50 years of preparation, Helios represented the pinnacle of human scientific achievement, the ability to temporarily manipulate the fundamental forces of nature within a defined spatial area. As the Craxian World Ender reached full charge, Earth struck first. From seemingly empty space near Earth's L1 Lagrange point, a pulse of pure white energy erupted, not directed at any ship, but expanding outward in a perfect sphere. On the Imperial judgment, Grand Admiral Zex watched in confusion as his sensors failed to classify the energy. "What is this?" "Report." Commander Vral's voice shook as he answered. "Unknown energy type. Grand Admiral. It's altering the physical constants within its radius." The Helios field expanded rapidly, engulfing the Craxian fleet. Within its influence, the strong nuclear force weakened by precisely 0.4%. Not enough to affect stable matter under normal conditions, but catastrophic for the artificial quantum singularities that powered Craxian vessels. One by one, the Craxian ships' power cores destabilized. The smaller vessels were consumed instantly by uncontrolled energy reactions. The larger ships, including the Imperial Judgment and the World Ender, fought against the inevitable collapse, their emergency systems struggling to compensate. Grand Admiral Zex watched in horror as his mighty armada disintegrated around him. "Impossible," he whispered. "No species has ever." "Grand Admiral," Commander Vral interrupted, "the World Ender's containment field is failing. Catastrophic collapse imminent." Zex made the only decision left to him. All surviving ships, emergency hyperspace jump. Retreat to Rally Point Omega. Only 27 ships, out of the original 5,000, managed to activate their hyperspace drives before the World Ender exploded with the force of a small supernova, consuming the Imperial Judgment and the remaining Craxian vessels. The Earth fleet, positioned safely outside the Helios field's radius, witnessed the destruction of the most powerful armada in known space within minutes. On the Indomitable, Admiral Rice watched the final Craxian ships flee into hyperspace. "Should we pursue?" Commander Chen asked. Rice shook her head. "No. Let them go. Let them carry the message back to their empire." In the Rocky Mountain Command Center, General Chen and Dr. Rice observed the aftermath of humanity's victory. The Helios field dissipated, its work complete, leaving only debris where the Craxian fleet had been. "It worked better than we projected," Rice noted, studying the data. Chen nodded. "This changes everything. Not just for us, but for every species suffering under Craxian rule." 3 months later, a diplomatic vessel approached Craxian space. It carried representatives from Earth, bearing a simple message. The conquest of Earth was impossible. The Craxian Empire could choose peace, or it could choose extinction. For the first time in 3 millennia, the Craxians chose peace. 1 year after the battle that became known as the Luminous Victory, Earth's ships set out to make contact with other civilizations, not as conquerors like the Craxians, but as liberators and allies. Humanity stepped onto the galactic stage not as victims or subjects, but as equals. And in the great void between stars, word spread quickly. If you sought conquest, Earth was to be avoided at all costs. But if you sought freedom from oppression, humans would be your most valuable friends. The species that had once been dismissed as primitives had become the galaxy's greatest hope.